Haverford uses Moodle for its learning management system. Moodle is your one-stop shop for your courses. You can email students, learn their names, faces, post syllabi and other course content, collect and assess student work, and much, much more. To start using Moodle, point your browser at moodle.haverford.edu and find the login link in the upper right corner. Log in, select your school. You only need to enter your username, not the @Haverford part, but the @Haverford part will get tacked on. You may need to authenticate via Duo. And Moodle will open into your own home page, which it calls the dashboard. The dashboard has a variety of information. It often has announcements at the top. You'll see your recently accessed courses, upcoming assignments, quizzes, etc., and an overview of all your courses. You can modify what you see by starring courses to highlight them or removing them from view. Then you can select which courses you want to see and change bits about the layout using these various filters on the top. Next to your dashboard, there's a link to My Courses, which is just going to show you your courses without other information. Moving along, you're going to go to a link to other Moodle servers we have on campus, including Moodlegroups, which houses ongoing organizations and groups and that sort of thing, and servers from previous academic years. Depending on how your screen is sized, you may see a More button, which has more resources, including help, or you may just see those resources at the top if your window is larger, or you may see fewer options under the menu, even just 3 menu bars. No matter what you see, you have the same options. 2 other items of note. This Moodle 2324 takes you to your default home page, in this case the dashboard, and home takes you to a site page where you can see all the courses on the system. Looking on the right side of your screen, you'll see your profile, information about your account, which you can modify, and some other useful features such as the switch role to we'll look at in a minute, and of course you can log out. You can customize this page and many other pages with its edit mode, which is the same as the editing button. Let's go back and look at my courses. And before we look at how to configure a particular course, let's just look at a sample Moodle course to see what's in a standard Haverford Moodle course shell. All courses are going to start with some getting started instructions, a note to you, which relates to this note from your professor on academic integrity, which is in every Haverford course shell. You can modify this or even delete it as discussed in this letter. There's announcements, which you can use to email your students. And then there's all the information which you add, which can be a variety of links to web pages, videos, quizzes, discussions, all kinds of things. On the left side of your course, there is a course index. And if I click on that, it will give you a quick outline of everything that's in your course. By default, courses have a weekly view, but you can rename any of these weekly headings to whatever you want. And you can also change to different types of views. And you can just quickly get to any item that's in the course. These sections are each collapsible. And also on your main page, you can collapse and expand items. I'm going to close up the course index, and let's look at the right side of your screen, which is the block drawer. This side has Quickmail, another way to email your students, news, which is the same as the announcements, and resources for your course about your librarian and reference materials, etc. And there is information about how to get help from Instructional Design and Technology Services. There's also a calendar with upcoming activities for your course. Over here are all my courses. Each has a tile. You'll notice some have these nice little images representing the course, and some use the default tiling. You can set an image if that you want to. You'll also notice that some of the courses are hidden from students. By default, all courses are hidden from students. So students will only see a course after you go in and make it available or visible to them, which we'll see how to do in a minute. So let's go ahead and look at the course Getting Started with Moodle. So here we are in my course Getting Started with Moodle, and it looks just like the sample course, except for it doesn't have any content. So the first thing I'm going to do to build a course is turn editing on. And I am going to start just by adding the topics that we're going to cover today. So we're going to look at, and I can use this little edit icon for the section headings. We're going to look and see who's in my class. We're going to look at what do students see. We're going to see how to email students using announcements or Quickmail. We're going to see how to add content. We're going to see how to move, edit, or delete content. We're going to see how to configure the course. That's going to be to make it visible or also to change the layout a little bit. And finally, we're going to look at how to back up or restore a copy of the class. Now you'll notice I have some extra sections here. Actually, this is an abridged course. I only have one extra section, or I could add more weeks. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is who's in my class. So up at the top of your class, you'll see a lot of course administration options. We're going to look at some of those in the video. The first one we're going to look at is participants. So over here, I get a list of all my participants, a little image of them. And there's another way to see participants, which is actually a little bit nicer, and that is under reports. There's this tool called the roster report. And the nice thing about the roster report is it has a learning mode. So if I turn the learning mode on, I don't see the names, and I can actually use this to learn the names of my students. There's some other things I can do with this too. Turn my learning mode off, you can see the names again. All right, so let's go back to the course. I'm going to do that by clicking on the course icon right here. And the next thing we're looking at is, well, what do students see? So you'll notice some of these items are hidden from your students. They're not going to see that, but what will they see? So if I go under my profile, there's this option, switch role to, and you can use this registered student role. Registered students are formerly registered through Bionic, and auditing students either self-enroll or are manually added. They should both have the same options. So this is what students see. They just see the announcements, the note, the side options here, but they don't see the hidden options, and it looks a lot cleaner. So let's go back to my normal role, Oh, wait, before I do that, I want to show you one other thing. They have slightly different options than you do at the top, but they can see the participant list. Although for them, they don't see quite as much information. And if they want to see preferred pronouns, they have to click on an individual student, and then it will show up if that student has provided preferred pronouns. So let me return to my normal role. Go back to the course. We looked at who's in my class. We looked at what students see how to email students. So again, you can use announcements, which is right on the main page. So I'll go into announcements. I can add a topic, and I can say what I want to say. For instance, welcome to the class. And then, you know, whatever you want. Blah, blah, blah. Once I post to the forum, it's going to email to those students, to really everyone in the class, and the people that we just saw on the participant list. And then you'll notice it says your post was successfully added. You have 30 minutes to edit if you want to make any changes, which means that in 30 minutes, this is going to get mailed. It's not mailed right away. Now, this message is going to stay in my course unless I delete it, both through the announcements and over in the latest news. And then I can go ahead and delete it, which I will do. And I can go back to the main course at the top, and the message is gone. But otherwise, it would just stay throughout the course. The other thing I can do to mail students is use Quickmail. I can decide who I want to send it to, for example, everyone in the course or just individual students. This little X lets me delete this and change my mind. So I can do, for example, everyone in the course except, and then if I want to, I can say except Twice Baked Potato or whoever. Then again, same as before, welcome, note, whatever note I want, and I can add attachments. I can send the message, save it as a draft and finish it later, or just cancel it altogether. Okay, let's go back to editing my course and adding content. So you notice the edit button at the top is gone now. Well, not visible, it's still here, but the edit mode option is still visible. So let's use that to get back our editing icons. And let's start adding content. I have a few pieces of content that I want to add. They're in this sample course files folder that I have. And if I want to say add a syllabus, I can just drag it on and it will drop into the bottom of the section. So there's my syllabus. I have other ways to add either files, such as this is a file, or different types of content through this add an activity or resource button. So you can see there's many types of activities and resources. A few common ones are under the recommended option here. And among those, the most common would be the assignment. That's like a Dropbox kind of thing where students can submit papers. And there's a lot of advantages to using that over other types of ways of collecting papers. This online discussion forum is very common. And you can add links to web pages. And this text and media lets you add images, video, as well as text. So again, just like we added the syllabus by dragging and dropping, another way to do that is by add a file, and I can give it a name, such as reading 1, and I can give it a description, example, read by Thursday. I can display that on the page if I want to, which we'll just do that to see how it looks. And then I can drag the reading on, just like I did the syllabus, into this box, or I can use this little add file icon and upload a file and choose it through the file chooser. And here's my reading. I have them other options I can set if I choose to, and I can also send a notification which will email the students that I've added or changed this content. So here's my file. It says read by Thursday. And just one more type of option that you might want to add is, again, this text or media area, which uses the auto editor. You can change your editor up at the top through the preferences. There's also a very commonly used tiny MCE editor, which may be the default in future years, but right now the default is the auto editor. So, and then I can add, whatever text I want. I can add images. And I can do that two ways. One way is I can click on this image icon to insert it, or I can simply drag and drop an image on. So here's a cat. It's very large, so I want to resize it. Let's see. It's always good to have an alt tag, so in case people can't see your screen. And let's just make this cat 300. It's much smaller, 300 by 225. Let's save the image. I want it on a new line. And then if I wanted to add other types of things, like I can record my voice, I can record video, I can link to a YouTube video, say, so I have many options. Let's save and return to the course. So here's my text, images, whatever I want. All right, so I have a lot of content now, but it's not necessarily where I want it. It's not necessarily how I want it. So that's where these little 3-dot edit icons come in handy. So on both items and section headers, I have these dots. So these dots have all sorts of options. For example, I can move something. I can move this text box, say, down to the end of the course. So it's now on the bottom. I can also, let's do this with the syllabus. I want the syllabus actually at the top of the course. So I'm going to just move it up, and you'll notice there's a little line. Let's see. And so now, usually people want the syllabus on the top of the course. And then another thing I can do is, let's click here for the section heading. I can actually add more content to any section I want. I can do that. I can change items in individual items too. But let's go to add a little bit more about who's in my class. So we looked at two ways to see who's in your class. I looked at the participant list and the roster report. Maybe I want to make that a list. So then you can use basically the same options you have in your text box to add text, images, videos, whatever, to the top of a course section. I can move whole sections the same way I did them, or I can hide sections. So, for instance, I don't want this last section. I can either hide it or just delete it. For now, I'm going to hide it. All right, so let's go back and see how the course looks. I'm going to use, again, the switch role to pick either registered or auditing student and see this is what students see. Now, this says not available, but it's still here for October 23rd to the 29th. Here's the roster report. Here's my syllabus. Here's my reading. And I don't see the cat anymore. So that's cool. Let me return to my normal role and make this course look just a little nicer and get it ready. So by default, all the courses are in a weekly format, but I have actually decided on a topic format. In this course, we're going topic by topic. So let's go into settings and do two things. First of all, I'm ready to show this to the world. So I'm going to change the course visibility to make it visible. If you don't do this, your students will not even see the existence of your course on Moodle, which is fine. But if you want them to see your course, you need to make it available. I can add a summary. So something like learn how to get started using Moodle to teach your class. And I can add a course image. Do spring at Haverford. Okay, and then I want to change my course format from the weekly format to the topics format. And remember, hidden sections were shown as not available. I want my hidden section to be completely invisible. So let us save and return. Now you'll see topic 8 is hidden from students, and it also says topic 8 instead of the week. Everything else looks about the same. Let's see how this looks to students now. They don't see that last section. Return to my normal role. And I want to show you one more little thing before we move on to the final section about backup and restore. Now that I've configured the class, you'll notice I have an additional option that I didn't have before. I can highlight a section. So the next thing we're going to do is look at how to back up and restore your class. So I'll highlight that. And then that says it's highlighted here. And it also shows up as highlighted in the section. And for students, they'll just see a little note that says this is where we are in the course. Okay, and so now my course is set up, it's visible, it has my content. The last thing I want to do is save it for the future. So we do save courses, but it's always good to save it yourself just in case. So you can use this course reuse button. If you've used Moodle before, you'll notice that this is a slightly different way to do backup and restore. But you go to course reuse, and then you have these options to backup and restore. And there is more information about exactly how to do that on the heading of the course, Copy Courses from Previous Semesters. So that is a quick look at how to get started with Moodle. And again, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact HC Tech Learn. Our contact information is right in your course shell.